Obsidian Flames is the latest expansion to release in the Pokemon TCG. In this video, we'll be covering Decidueye EX. Like with all my deck coverages, deck lists will be in the description along with any other info that I might have missed. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Decidueye EX has a powerful ability called Total Freedom, which says once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on the bench, switch it with my active Pokemon, or if this Pokemon is in the active spot, switch it with one of your benched Pokemon. This opens up a lot of really neat plays, like being able to switch a Pokemon that's trapped in the active that you otherwise wouldn't be able to switch out. No switch cards needed. Once in the active, you may use Decidueye's attack, Hunting Arrow, which for 1 grass and 1 colorless, you can do 130 damage through the active and 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This might not sound like a lot of damage, and you'd be right, it isn't, but when you combo this with the partner Pokemon Inteleon VMAX, you can spread damage around, setting up for some very cheeky plays you'll see later in the post-commentary. Speaking of which, let's talk about Inteleon VMAX. Commonly seen in Rapid Strike box, paired with the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, Inteleon has the Double Gunner ability, which allows you to discard a water energy from your hand to put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This ability is key to setting up knockouts from the Decidueye's Hunting Arrow, and for other Rapid Strike buddy, Medicham V. Medicham V, as we all know, has Yoga Loop, which for 2 colorless, lets you place 2 damage counters anywhere, and if that takes a KO, you can take another turn instead of passing over to your opponent. This can help you catch up in prizes after you've set up KOs from the Inteleon and Decidueye. One last Pokemon that helps manipulate damage around is Radiant Alakazam. Alakazam's powerful Spoon's ability lets you move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another Pokemon. When used in tandem with Inteleon's Double Gunner and the additional 30 from Decidueye's attack, you may not be taking knockouts right away, but the whole point of this deck isn't to take KOs fast, it's to set up unexpected KOs when your opponent starts to run out of steam, which is really cool. But all of this wouldn't be possible without the assistance of the new Pidgeot EX from Obsidian Flames. Quick Search is back, and it allows you to search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. This could be a supporter like Iono to disrupt your opponent and help you dig for more resources. It could be Rare Candy to help you evolve Rowlet into Decidueye. It could help you find Tower of Waters to help an Inteleon retreat into Medicham V. The versatility is what makes this Pokemon so powerful and a key mon, alongside with the Radiant Alakazam and Inteleon. With all that being said, let's just hop into my post-commentary. In the game of choice, Decidueye EX versus Lost Zone Giratina. Hey, it's me, entering from the void. Before we continue on with the post-commentary, if you like the video so far, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. But yeah, let's continue on with the actual game. Bye! Alright, let's get into the post-commentary. I'm just going to be talking about this match, but yeah. Goal is always to go first, if you win the coin flip, but here I lose the coin flip, so I believe my opponent chooses to go first. And they do. So yeah, that's not the greatest, but we should be in an okay position. Starting hand doesn't look too bad going second. I have double Inteleon and Irida. Irida can look out, search up Battle VIP Pass, play Battle VIP Pass, get situated. At this point, I only know that they're playing Lost Box, so they go for a Comfeys, flower selecting, also what looks like a Raihan. It was aggressive Sableye bench attach, and they slam down Path, and at this point I know it's a Giratina build because Giratina is the only Lost Zone box that runs Path at this point. I benched the Inteleon feeling comfortable that, you know, I'm gonna have something to switch into, and then I grab Inteleon VMAX, also feeling comfortable that my hand won't be disrupted turn 2 of the game because it's Lost Zone Tina, and most Tinas run just Roxanne and no Iono, so I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Grab Battle VIP Pass, of course, off the Irida. Battle VIP Pass can grab double Rowlet or Radiant Alakazam and Rowlet, but I choose Pidgey and Rowlet because I have the Rare Candy and the Pidgeot EX in the hand. And I think it's important to note here that I have 2 Tower of Waters in my hand. We're going to hold that. The reason why we hold that is because I have no abilities in play, so I don't mind having the Path in play. And then I also don't want them to just go and Lost Vacuum away my Tower of Waters. If they do run Lost Vacuum, I know some lists do and some lists don't. So we just decide to hold the Tower of Waters just so that they can't pull off a Lost Vacuum on me. And then if they do decide to bench Radiant Greninja for whatever reason, they just can't use their Radiant Greninja, which is sick. Bench another Comfey. Benches Radiant Greninja, even though they can't use it. They play the rope. This is why I bench the second Inteleon. I can just switch into Inteleon instead of giving up a Rowlet and Pidgey when they go to attack with a Cramorant. So, again, feeling pretty comfortable, feeling pretty safe with that decision. Looks like they Nest Ball. Probably going to Nest Ball for Cram. Would make sense. They have 5 in the Lost Zone. Pretty important to note that they have 5 in the Lost Zone. They do grab Cram off the Nest Ball. Looks like no gate this turn, just because they couldn't hit 7 and they just decide to pass. And we're in a pretty strong position. I can attach onto the Rowlet, which I decide to do. I can evolve into Inteleon VMAX on the bench, which is good, because I don't want that Inteleon in the active getting damage on it from the Cramorant and then having like 3 easy prizes in the active, so that's bad. We'll quick search after we bump Path with our Tower of Waters. Now here, I probably could have grabbed the Iono, but I didn't want to give them an extra card, so I decided to grab Research and discard a Tower, which shouldn't be a huge deal. I have 1 Tower left to bump second Path. Most Tina lists run 2 Path that I've seen, so especially if it's the cross-switcher build, there just isn't room for 3rd or 4th Path. So I'm feeling pretty okay just discarding Path, but for future games, probably don't want to do that. And here I'm feeling pretty comfortable just discarding the Energy and the Nest Ball, because I have Rare Candy in hand. I can just evolve into Decidueye EX, Energy Retrieval it back, get some cheeky damage in, KO Comfey maybe, if I use the Energy Retrieval to grab the 1 Energy, which does feel like a waste, but I mean, to get this initial KO might be worth it. But we'll see what I decide here. And I decide to pass, which I do agree with. I can be a little patient here. I can play Iono this coming turn if they build up their hand a lot, especially if they play Chorus. So it does make sense for me to just pass and not be super greedy with the Energy Retrieval and KOing the active Comfey. And this does bench lock them, since I didn't KO the active Comfey there. So by bench locking them, they can't get down a second Giratina, which is a pretty heads-up play, honestly, because now I can start double gunnering. They do play Path down here, which sucks that I discarded my 1 Tower already, so off this Iono, I better get another Tower, otherwise I might be in a pretty precarious situation. It looks like they do get 7 in the Lost Zone this turn, which makes sense. It's turn 3. If they haven't gotten 7 in the Lost Zone, that means they're running real bad. They gussed up my Pidgeot EX for some reason with only 7 in the Lost Zone and 2 on the Giratina. Probably thinking they can Star Requiem, but unfortunately for them, they only had a couple in the Lost Zone, just a few short of the Star Requiem, so this ends up being a massive misplay from the Lost Tina player. They have 7 in the Lost Zone. So this ends up being a massive misplay, and they just pass. And Pidgeot having free retreat is incredibly huge. Now, I'm not guaranteed an energy off the Iono, so I might still Energy Retrieval here just to find energy, but I could also just Iono and save the Energy Retrieval. And that's what I was debating here. And I play it anyway just to guarantee the energy onto Decidueye, retreat into Decidueye to guarantee some damage onto the Giratina, and then Iono. It does put them at 6, but I also just need a better hand. We do find the Stadium Bump, which is huge. So we do play the Stadium Bump here, just so that I can search out my deck for some other cards that I would like. Mainly some Water Energy. I do need Water Energy to start setting up these key KOs. I consider grabbing the Radiant Alakazam, but I do need Water Energy here so I can start setting up these damage counters into play. So here we go with the Water Energy. And then I Nest Ball for the Alakazam because I remembered, oh yeah, I have a Nest Ball, so we're just going to Nest Ball for the Kazam. Not too concerned with getting the Rowlet, honestly. But I guess I chose to make the safe play and just save the Kazam for later in the game in case they do end up getting 10 in the Lost Zone and just KOing my Decidueye. I do have Decidueye EX in my hands, so I could search out for a Rare Candy and still have a way to attack next turn. And then I check my discard pile, considering whether it's actually useful to use the energy retrieval here, but I just decide not to and just go and attack. And I put the 30 on a Comfey because, you know, I'm trying to play around Switching Cart, right? Or Switch Cart, I guess. Switch Cart will heal 30 damage off of a basic Pokemon if you use it and switch it into another one of their bench Pokemon. Here they just play an Escape Rope and I just switch into the Rowlet. I don't care about the Rowlet, to be honest. I'm okay giving up the Rowlet here because I already have a Decidueye in play and it should be good. They have 8 in the Lost Zone now, I believe. And there's the Switch card I was talking about. So heals 30 still means that they have 20 on that Comfey, which is good because I can move 20 over from the active Comfey or from the Giratina onto that Comfey using Radiant Alakazam, and that does set up some cheeky little damage, especially if I can get a Double Gunner off this turn as well. Getting Double Gunner off, finding something like an Alakazam would be absolutely massive, honestly. But let's see what my opponent does here. Looks like they decide to gate onto Giratina and Greninja. Concealed cards. Chorus Experiment, which means there's no boss. Boss isn't happening this turn. They have 9 in the Lost Zone. They're going to have 11 after the Chorus, which means that Sableye is active. They did end up Lost Zoning a Comfey and a Sableye, and then they decide to Super Rod 1 energy back in, and then they rope. And here, I'm kind of debating what to promote here. I'm okay with giving up the Inteleon, to be honest. But they decide to promote Sableye for whatever reason, which I feel like is also a huge misplay, because now they could have, you know, KO'd the Inteleon with Giratina and gone ahead in prizes, but they just decided to set up some KOs for Giratina with Sableye, and I also respect that. They take the easy KO on Rowlet, which, you know, makes sense, I guess, but I probably would have just continued setting up the easy KO on the Inteleon instead, but hey, misplay is a misplay. I top deck, I think, Battle VIP Pass, so here I have some options. I can Ultra Ball away the Pidgeot EX, but I think I'm also comfortable ditching the Decidueye EX, since my Rowlet just got KO'd, so, like, I don't have another Rowlet. And I don't play Manaphy in this, which might be a mistake, but that's fine. It looks like I do decide to pitch the Pidgey, since I don't plan on having more than one Pidgeot EX. It should be fine running just the 2. Quick search, probably gonna find me an Iono. Yep, there it is. And then I use Total Freedom, promotes the Decidueye into the active, or I could just retreat Inteleon out for Decidueye. That works too, because Tower of Waters takes 2 off of my Rapid Strike mons, which Inteleon is. I'm checking my resources here, seeing how many energies I have in the discard pile, seeing how many energy retrievals I have left. I only have the 1 in my hand left. Right now I'm trying to just do some calculations, trying to see, hey, how can I spread some damage around to maybe set up some cheeky KOs? And then I go ahead, I Iono them to 5, which is good, because they have 8 cards in their hand, and I don't like that. Here we find Ultra Ball, Research, and 2 Water Energy. That's huge, because now I can start setting up some damage into play. This turn I have an opportunity to take a 2-prize turn to get ahead in the prize race, but Giratina might get ahead here, so we'll have to see. I'm okay with giving up the Echoing Horn here because their bench is already full. I'm not looking to bench lock them at this point because I can just set up a Yoga Loop and then take 4 prizes after that, but it's going to take some work to get there. So right now the Inteleon is just setting up some Yoga Loop stuff, but that 20 damage on the Giratina is very, very relevant. 150 means that with Decidueye, I can use Hunting Arrow to KO the active Giratina V-Star if, you know, my Decidueye survives for some reason. And if not, 150 is also enough for me to use the attack on Inteleon VMAX with a Rapid Strike Energy. By returning an energy to my hand, I'm able to do an additional 70 damage on top of the base 70, which does 140. And of course, 140 plus 150 is 290, knocking out the Giratina V-Star if I have to attack with Inteleon VMAX. So I've got a pretty strong position here, but at this stage in the game, I'm not able to take that final prize card just yet. Giratina's still in a pretty comfortable position, especially if they start setting up a second Giratina. Right there, they lost zone a switching cart, which I don't know if I agree with. Taking the 30 damage off of Comfy really does matter. Because then that means I have to move one damage counter from Giratina over. And this is the big misplay that actually cost the Lostina the game. They benched Spiritomb, which I guess they're playing around something like me playing Lumineon, which I do run a Lumineon V, but at this stage in the game, I have my Pidgeot EX set up, so I'm not too worried about playing Lumineon to find something. And rightfully, they Jet Energy onto Giratina to promote it into the active, and they'll just Lost Impact me for 280, knocking out the Decidueye EX. But the Decidueye EX has already put in the work, putting 30 damage on a Comfy, taking a key KO, putting me at 2 prizes ahead, but now they do catch up in prizes, but I'm not too concerned. The Yoga Loop play is there, I just gotta get there. So, we bench the Medicham, we attach the Rapid Strike Energy, and with Tower of Waters, I have free retreat on my Inteleon. We promote Medicham. We're just gonna research where the Battle VIP Pass. Don't care, don't need it. And here I find Energy Retrieval, which lets me set up some more damage counters, which is going to be relevant. I need to set up damage counters this turn so that on my following turn, I can KO Spiritomb. On my Yoga Loop turn, I can KO Spiritomb with another double gunner, or I can move over some damage from the Radiant Greninja or something onto the Spiritomb. So the 2 energies is very, very relevant that I grabbed the 2 water. So now we just Yoga Loop onto the Comfy. And because 20 damage, that 20 damage KO'd the Comfy, I get an extra turn. So I take my prize card, Giratina stays in the active, which is also very important. I can retreat into Inteleon VMAX, do 140, KOing the active Giratina like I said before, setting up that perfect math. Painful Spoons moves 20 from the Greninja over onto the Spiritomb, knocking out the Spiritomb on the bench. And now all I have to do left is retreat into the Inteleon VMAX and swing with Gmax Spiral for 140 and the game for my final 2 prize cards. And just like that, 4 prizes taken with relative ease, but it took some work to get there. That's what makes this deck so damn cool. The way that you're just able to set up plays in advance, it's just absolutely incredible. And against a powerhouse like Lost Zone Tina, being able to like stand a chance even with this rogue Decidueye EX, that's just dope. That's just sick. But yeah, that was my game against Lost Zone Tina. Lost Zone boxes tend to be a little bit more fragile to the spread damage, especially if you're a player that can account for the switch cards healing 30. Like this, in the right hands, this deck could be incredibly powerful. But in my hands, I was able to take down a Lost Zone Tina, one of the most dominant decks in the meta right now. So I'm pretty happy with that performance. But yeah, I guess we'll close out by me showing the deck list and I'll just give you my closing thoughts on the deck. So yeah, I'll catch you with the deck list. So, closing thoughts on the deck. I'm going to have the deck on the left side of the screen here. Yeah, deck has a lot of potential. It feels a lot like Rapid Strike Box with the Inteleon VMAXs and the Medichams helping out. Radiant Alakazam, huge help in the deck, and alongside with that Pidgeot EX being able to search out anything you want from the deck. Just one of the most broken abilities in the game. It is so good, especially like if you can get it set up turn 1, turn 2, like that's just turn 2, turn 3, like that's crazy. I haven't talked too much about the counts of cards that I have in the deck, so, or like how many copies of the cards I run in the deck, so I guess I'll just quickly gloss over that. I'm running 4 Rowlet for that extra consistency. I want to be able to get the Rowlet out to evolve into Decidueye. 3 Decidueye, don't really need 4. I was running 4 at first, but it just felt too clunky, so went down a copy. Don't regret it at all. It was a great decision, which gave me space for other consistency cards, like an extra Rare Candy. I was running 3, I'm running 4 now. 4 Rare Candy feels phenomenal. Ultra Ball, I run 4 of those. Gotta get the evolution mons. It's non-negotiable. You need the Decidueye EX, you need the Pidgeot EX, and you absolutely need the Inteleon VMAX to be able to set up that damage. Echoing Horn, one of the biggest cards in the deck, possibly the best card in the deck, actually, especially going up against Lost Box. Echoing Horn opens up a lot of very cheeky plays. Bench locking is a very underrated strategy at the moment, I feel. Especially for newer players, which this channel is targeted towards. I'm a newer player myself. I haven't been playing for that long, but I do recognize the importance of like playing hard decks and finding thin lines that can win you a game. And one of the thin lines that you can find is bench locking someone. Bench locking someone could completely close off a strategy. You saw Brennan Cameron bench lock a Tina from benching a Sableye and leading to a comeback and eventually the dub in one of the Swiss rounds at Worlds this year. So Echoing Horn could be a huge help in this deck, and I do run one of those. Energy Retrieval, there are 2 in the deck. Energy Search, there is 1. You didn't get to see it in the gameplay video. Didn't really need it most of the time, but it is there, helps you find the grass energy. There are only 3 grass energies in the deck, which makes it a little bit harder to find. So the Energy Search is there, that way you don't have to use Quick Search from Pidgeot to just find grass. 3 Rapid Strike energies. I was running 4. You really don't need 4 Rapid Strike energies, which gave me wiggle room to add the 6th Water Energy, which is a similarity that this deck and Cyrus Davis's Rapid Strike Box deck shares in common. The deck that she used to win NEIC, I took some inspiration from that, running 3 Temple of Waters, or Tower of Waters, and the 6th Water Energy from the supporter count, very similar as well. 3 Iono, 3 Irida, I believe she ran in their Rapid Strike Box deck for NEIC. 2 Nest Balls, same thing. Instead of Melanie, I was messing around with Melanie a little bit, because Melanie opens up Aqua turn plays, but not too excited to attack with Lumineon, so I added Raihan. It gives me the option to attach to a Rowlet or something, evolve into Decidueye, and still attack with a Decidueye, attach for turn with like Water Energy or something, and then go from there. But yeah, I didn't feel like Melanie was too good in this deck, so I just run a 1-off Raihan. Search that out with the Pidgeot EX. Simple. 3 Research feels pretty good. Sometimes it does feel bad to discard things like Tower of Waters, especially in that Lost Tina matchup where Path is very disruptive to this ability heavy deck. You need every single one of the towers. But yeah, Research is fine. Could be switched out for Course's Experiment, but yeah, those are just ideas that I'm spitballing, throwing around, but yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything else. 4 Battle VIP passes, they feel fine. Still debating whether the VIP pass is actually worth it or not. I think they are. They're pretty good. You do want to get the Rowlets out and the Pidgey out, just like to add consistency to that startup, or that initial setup, because that initial setup's so important. Irida, 2 Irida, like I mentioned before, copied directly from Cyrus Davis's list, and she's just cracked. Side note. But yeah, took their list, took the 2 Irida from their list, and the 2 Irida does feel good. It lets you search out for Inteleon VMAX, lets you search out Battle VIP Pass if you're going second, like you saw in the Lost Tina game. 2 Nest Ball feels great. Don't really need 4. It's fine the way it is. But yeah, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.